In this video, we're going to review what a derivative is and how we use a partial derivative in this class. So if you remember, a derivative is a rate of change, or as it's usually talked about, a derivative is a slope. So if I have a graph here of something like x squared, the derivative of x squared at any point is going to be the slope of the line at that point, or the rate that the line is changing as x changes. So for something like x squared, we'll review derivatives later, but the derivative of x squared is 2x. And so depending on what the x value is, that tells us that the rate of change, or the slope of this line, will be different at different values of x. We have a line that's something like this, where every time I move over 1x, it moves up 2, then the slope is constant. And the equation for this line, we use y equals mx plus b, is going to be 2x plus 0, since we went through the origin. And so the derivative of this line is just 2. And in this case, 2 is a constant, and the slope is the same throughout the whole line. But the important thing to remember is that a derivative is a rate of change, or a slope. When we talk about a partial derivative in this class, or a derivative, those are always going to refer to the same thing. I'm not going to distinguish between the two. And basically, a partial derivative just means that when you're solving an equation, you treat everything else as a constant. So if you have the equation y equals ax c, and I'm taking the derivative with respect to x, which I would denote like this. This is the derivative of y, the partial derivative of y with respect to x. And this isn't quite a d, it's a special symbol for a partial derivative. But that's how we would denote it. The derivative of this, I treat x as the variable, and a and c are both just constants. So it's like I take them out in front, and I take the derivative with respect to x, which would just be 1 in this case, and then I multiply them back on, so it equals ac. But we will review the actual derivative rules for how to take derivatives later. The important thing to remember is just that for a partial derivative, if I'm taking derivative with respect to x, then the other variables in the problem, a and c, are both just treated as a constant. They're treated like some number. In the next video, we will review the basic rules for taking derivatives.